Welcome to TechbrothersIT. In this video, we are going to learn about the self-hosted integration runtime cluster. That means we will be adding more than one node in self-hosted integration runtime. Now, what is the definition of integration runtime? It's a compute infrastructure that Azure Data Factory and Synapse pipeline use to provide data integration capabilities across different network environments. Now let's talk about self-hosted integration runtime. A self-hosted integration runtime can run copy activity between a cloud data store and a data store in the private network. It can dispatch transformation activities against compute resources in an on-premises network or Azure virtual network. The installation of the self-hosted integration runtime needs an on-premises machine or virtual machines inside a private network. Now think about that. You have Azure Cloud, and then maybe you have on-premises network where you have multiple nodes that you can use for self-hosted IR, and then you can load the data between your on-premises network and to the cloud. Same way, if you don't have that on-premises network, maybe you want to create a virtual network on the Azure and host your VMs there, and then you can use self-hosted IR to move the data between Azure Cloud and those VMs that's you just created on the VNet on the Azure. So let's go ahead and perform this demo. In this case, I don't have anything on my on-premises. I have this laptop that I can use as on-premises, and I have shown you guys how to create the self-hosted IR that could extract data from my laptop and put on the cloud. And vice versa. But in this scenario, what we are going to do, we are going to create a couple of computers on the Azure cloud, and then we will use them as our, think about that, they will be in separate VNet. It means they're in different network, and we can use them against our self-hosted IR. First of all, I'm going to go ahead and create VNet. So let's check for VNet virtual network here, and now I'm going to go ahead and create, and this is going to be my subscription, and then my resource group is TechbrothersIT, and I'm going to call this one a self-hosted IR VNet. Okay, so that will do it, and just go ahead and create that. Now in this VNet, I'm going to go ahead and create a subnet. Okay, our VNet is ready, and let's go to subnets, and here I will be creating a subnet. So I'm going to call this one self-hosted IR VNet, and then subnet at the end. So just a name and convention. Save it. And now let's go ahead and create two VMs. So we can node 1 or node 2. And we will go back here, and we are going to go for virtual machines. And I am going to create a new VM here, virtual machine. And it's going to be the same resource group, and the virtual machine name I'm going to call this SHIR node, primary node, or first node, I will say, not primary, because anything can be primary or secondary in this case. So this is just a cluster of two nodes. You can have actually four. So it's going to be Windows 2019. That's fine. And 16 GB, I don't really feel that I need that much, so I'm going to go with this configuration. And then I'm going to provide my username, TV user, and password. Okay, now it's all set. We are gonna allow remote inbound ports, and select RDP, and all that is gonna be good. Go to disk, and here we are gonna go to the networking, and in the networking I'm gonna select the self-hosted IR VNet that we created. In the subnet, we are going to select the self-hosted IR VNet subnet that we just created. Now this is all good, and we are gonna go ahead and create, and then we will go for the second node. So the first node, we call this self-hosted IR first node, and then we are going to go for second node. So it's being in process of creating, and we should be good here. Let's go create the second one, virtual machine, and new virtual machine, and it's going to be in the same resource group, and I will call it self-hosted IR second node. And now this is exactly the same in the operating system and the same configuration. Let me provide a username. Okay. Okay, now we're providing the password. Now we are going to go to disk, and then we are going to go to the network, and here we will be creating the same virtual network, and the subnet will be the same as well. So these are the two machines on the same subnet we are just creating here, and public IP is okay. We are not giving static IP and all that, and this should do it. Now it's gonna be asking validation and all that, and now we will create a, so we are in process of creating two VMs, and we our next option what's gonna do, we are gonna go and see if we have Azure Data Factory. So I'm gonna check my resource group and see if there's any Azure Data Factory. I don't have it, so I'm gonna go ahead and create a data factory here. Meanwhile the VMs are being ready, so I'm gonna go and create a data factory in the same resource group, and East US is fine, and here I will call it the Tech Brothers ADF. And now git configuration we can configure later, create, and hit create. Okay, our Azure Data Factory is ready, and our VMs are ready. Now we are good to go and create our self-hosted IR. So here I'm going to go open Data Factory, and in the Data Factory I'm going to create the integration runtime. In the integration runtime we have multiple options, and one of the options is called self-hosted. By using self-hosted we can read the data from on-premises or from the VNet, Azure VNet network where we have created the VMs. So it's just getting the data from different networks by using the Azure Data Factory self-hosted IR. So go to the integration runtime. Here we are going to go ahead and create a new, and here we are going to tell the self-hosted IR. So see right here, performs data flow, data movement, and dispatch activity to external computer. So select that, and here you will be saying self-hosted. Use this to run activities in on-premises / private network. In our case, we created on the VNet. Those are kind of private networks. So and here we call it self-hosted IR, and now that's it. It's ready to go. So our self-hosted IR is created, and there are the keys we will be using, and we can go to nodes here. As of now we don't have anything, so no nodes is added as of now. Okay, so from here what we are going to do, we are going to go to our portal here, and we will be go to the VM. Once our Azure Data Factory, sorry, self-hosted IR is ready, see right there, now we have to configure. So to configure that you can do multiple things. You can if you want to launch it here and download the software and install, you can do it here. Otherwise what you need to do, you don't need to download and install by integration runtimes. I don't want to download on my laptop, so I have to do on the VMs that we created. So I'm gonna log in or remote desktop to those VMs, and then we will do it. So let's click on our resource group, and here we will go to the first node, and then we will go and connect RDP, and then we are going to download the RDP file here, and then we'll remote to this machine. Double click, and it's going to open, connect, provide a username and password. Now let's do some settings, and then we'll open IE. Here I want to just disable the enhanced security here, so I'm going to go ahead and disable or close, and then I will open my Internet Explorer, and here I will be going to the Google, and then I will be downloading a self-hosted IR. So in the Google, what we are going to do, we are going to search for a self-hosted integration runtime download, or just search for this one, and then once it's here you will go right there and see right here if we can download. I'm gonna go actually back and search for specific download. So download, now it is gonna bring us to this URL, and we will go ahead and download the self-hosted IR. Go down further, hit download, and we have many versions available here. Now we are going to go ahead and do the latest one, and that's almost 1 GB. It should not take a whole lot, so allow once, and now it should download quickly and we will be ready to install. So we can go ahead and run. We can close this. It's downloading right now, preparing to install. Hit select a country and select next, accept the terms, select next, and select next, and then install. It's gonna take a couple of minutes to install this one. So meanwhile, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go back and here we will go to the Azure Data Factory and we will copy the key. So that's the key we need to register our Azure Data Factory as self-hosted IR on this VM. This is our first node or first VM, if you remember that. So there are two VMs that we are using in this self-hosted IR setup. These a couple of nodes can share the load of the pipelines. So if let's say you have running a lot of pipelines, these will be very helpful and the load will be divided among them. And in case if node dies due to some reason, maybe you are patching or something, at least your pipelines will be running. So these are very helpful. Okay, so our installation has been completed on our first node. Let's hit finish, and now we are going to provide the key we copied from Azure Data Factory self-hosted IR. So here we are going to paste that key, and see it is validating correctly. And now we are going to register. Once you click on register, it's going to register, and here we can enable remote access from intranet. That means we want this node to become part of other nodes as well. Now here integration runtime self-hosted node name, you can also put a name such as let's say self-hosted first node, or you want to give some other name, node 1 or something like that. That's possible. So you suggest a name that you're going to see once the installation is done. You want to go right here, and that's where it's going to show you under that. So if you want to change a little bit naming convention, so to remember that what node it was and all that, you can change it right here. So see right there, that's I just put it node 1, that's fine, and then now we hit the next. And here you are going to see TCP port on which the communication will be happening, a remote access from intranet. And enable remote access without TLS SSL certificate, because I don't have the certificate. You can enable this communication channel without SSL TLS certificate as well. If your network environment is trusted, by enable remote access from the internet without certificates on each node. So I'm going to do that. Is valid for my case, but if you want to provide the certificate, you have the option. You can click here and then provide go for the next steps and do that. In my case, I'm just going to go with this. So let's click on enable remote access without TLS and SSL certificate. Um, as I was clicking here, so it's probably gonna take some time even to open select and all that. So I'm just gonna wait for it till it come back. Okay, see, if I select that certificate, it asks you like which certificate you want to provide. Select a certificate to bind to the SSL port and all that. So if you want to do that, you can do it. But in my case, I'm not going to use a certificate. I'm going to just enable remote access without TLS SSL certificate. So now we are going to go ahead and hit finish, and it should become part of our Azure Data Factory self-hosted IR. So this will be the first node that will be configured for our self-hosted IR. So let's say if I have SQL Server that's on the same VNet, or I have a shared location that is on the on this VM, I can access all those locations or some SQL Server or any other servers from these VMs because of using a self-hosted IR. So this is between your Azure cloud and your VNets or your private networks. If we go back, meanwhile, this is the validating and all that. If I can go back to nodes here, and now if I cancel this out, so let me go back here and let's refresh, and you see that self-hosted IR is running. So I can click right there. I can go to node again, and now you can see that my self-hosted IR node 1 right there, that's running, and this is IP it is using. And limit concurrent jobs. It can run 4 jobs in parallel. You can increase if you want. Now let's go back and what we see here, we are going to go to the node and see right there everything is looking good. We can launch our configuration manager, and here is my service, and this is our integration runtime, and that's our node name. Now you can click on settings and see it is a status enabled. Port is this 8060, not encrypted because we are not using SSL or TLS certificate. Now we are all good here, and what we need to do, we need to add second node. I'm going to just minimize this and go back to my portal. And if you remember that the second node is called actually the second node, so we are going to go to the second node, and here is my second node. Let me see, let me refresh. If I go to virtual machines, and here is my second node, so I'm going to remote to this machine as well. Download RDP file, double click, provide the username and password. Next. Let's do the same steps of what we have done on our first node. Let's go to the IE enhanced security, disable this security, and then we will open IE. Once we open the IE, we have to download the self-hosted integration runtime here as well and install. Because we are making a cluster of those two nodes for our self-hosted IR. As of now, there are only 4 nodes you can add in self-hosted IR cluster for load balancing and for failover. So they, if you have 4 of them, even 3 will be working, that's still you're good. If 2 will be working, still your pipelines will run across them. Even then the last one is gone, still sorry, second last is gone, still your last one will work. So anyways, these are really good for failover scenarios or where you lost the node and load balancing as well. So we will say self-hosted integration runtime download. That's what we are going to do here as well. This is our second node. Now we can go to the download here and download the same version. Let's select the country and hit next. Accept the terms and select next, and then install. Our self-hosted integration runtime setup is completed on the second node. Let's hit finish. And now what we have to do, we have to go back to our portal and copy the key and paste it here. So I'm going to go to the Azure Data Factory and remember that self-hosted IR that's running. So we have to copy the same key what we copied in the previous node. So we are going to copy the clipboard here, go to our node here, and then we are going to provide in the second node. Here you just paste the key, and then you are going to register, and then we have to do some small settings here. Here again, remember that for the first node I just put dash node 1. So here I'm gonna go back. If let me cancel. I was going to type, but it took me to the next. So I'm going to cancel this. Okay, so register, and here, so I was saying that we can give a name called node02. And see that if I give for the first computer I gave dash node 1, and for the second one I gave dash node 2, so I will remember that node 1 and node 2. Not really important, you can just leave as the node names as it is, whatever the computer names are, but I just gave them and enable remote access from internet. That's what you have to click. Hit next, and then port TCP port 8060, that will stay as it is, and enable remote access without a TLS SSL certificate. And now you will hit finish, and it's gonna take a minute or two, and it's gonna initialize integration runtime, node components, and then it's gonna start working. Meanwhile, let me take you to the portal, and we take a look at what happened here. Let's refresh, and you can see that now self-hosted IR went into the running limited. Let's click right there and go to nodes here, and you can see that the previous node is running just fine. This is the new node is adding. Right now it's not available, and see right there, the node name also is not coming as a computer name. It will be updated once it's done. Let's cancel this out, refresh one more time, and now it is running. Let's click right there, and now we go back to the node. Here the both nodes are available now, and we can see their IPs if you need to, and they are limited concurrent jobs on each one is 4. Now let me take you back to the node 2 here, and you can see that the installation completed successfully. You can associate up to 4 physical nodes with self-hosted IR. This enables high availability and scalability for the self-hosted integration runtime. We recommend you set up at least 2 nodes for a higher availability. That's what we are doing here. and launch a configuration manager, and you can see that our second node is up and running. So we all good here, and we don't have to do anything here. If we want to add the next node, same steps what we did for second node or the first node, we can repeat them. Let's go back to our portal and take a look here. Now I'm going to cancel this out, and we can see that self-hosted IR is running just fine. Instead of here in the briefcase or manager, what we will do, we'll go to the monitor, and in the monitor we have integration runtime. Here we see that our self-hosted IR is running, and then you can see the view activities run on the integration runtime. We can click right here and see the runtime details. Here you can see that the status is running, type is self-hosted, and subtype we don't have anything here. This is the version we are having, and how many register nodes. There are 2 nodes, and they are up and running. High availability enabled. You can see right there. If I would have only one node, it will say false. Link count, queue length, and average queue duration is a 0 as of now. And here we can see our node 1 and node 2, they're running, and the version of self-hosted IR, and available memory on each of the node. CPU utilization is is 0 as of now. If there is something we want to do, maybe there is a pipeline running and all that, you can see the CPUs of those nodes. This is really helpful, especially when you are running some pipelines and you are having performance issues. You can come here and see how much memory is available and how much CPU is available. Also, it tells you network input output. So in and out you can see right there. So if you see very slow network, it means you have problem with the network. You want to work on that part to make your pipelines work faster. Then you have dispatcher worker and worker. So this node is used as a node 1 as of now, is used as a dispatcher and a worker. So it is taking the call and also working on the pipelines. This is a worker node as of now. The credential status is in sync. So we are all good here. So this is how you will set up a self-hosted IR with the multiple nodes on your Azure Data Factory. I hope this video is helpful. Thank you very much for watching. Please subscribe my channel, and I will see you guys in next video.